Cześć, hello. Today is in English. Dzisiaj jest po angielsku wyjątkowo. So, welcome on our tea breakfast. Today is very special guest with us, but I will tell about him a little bit in a moment. So, about the breakfast and what is all about. So, the tea breakfast is about tea organization. So, there are three pillars of this self-organization. One is self-organization. Second one is evolutionary purpose, and the third one is wholeness. So you can read on in this book called Reinventing Organization by Frederick Laloux about details of this, but I will just remind us about this a little bit in a moment. And about our community, we started about 6 years ago. It was small breakfast in Wrocław in Poland, but we grew to a whole Poland community. So this is a photo from our conference in Krakow a few years ago. So why we are talking about lean culture in tea breakfast? So I have like 3 reasons, and I wrote them down, so I will just read them. So first is continuous improvement, second one is employee engagement, and the third one is values and social purpose. So lean is, in my opinion, is providing tools to for the continuous improvement. And while tea organization is more about expanding this idea to make a social impact, so grow outside the company itself. So our special guest is actually from Israel. He's in a startup business for a while, and he's very experienced. He knows what he's talking about. He's a practitioner, and we actually met on a business conference in Wrocław. He's right now living in Warsaw, but since we are online, I am very happy to host him in today's event. So, Efi, welcome. Let me just.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Shall I show your presentation?
Yes.
Should I show your slides, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. The floor is yours.
Right. Good morning, everyone. I will elaborate about my experience actually in the end of presentation. I would like to do it in the end and get right into the practical things. I would just say that I'm from Israel. I'm living in Poland for the last 5 years. I'm trying to develop the Polish and the C ecosystem, not only in the startup environment. But today I would like to talk more about startups, growth hacking, and how to grow a company using lean principles and culture. As I see Poland and Central Eastern Europe, and not only me, as the next European Silicon Valley. So I would like to focus on the startup angle and to give some examples from my background as a lean practitioner with different companies around the world. So I would share some case studies, and I will talk about startups in a wider perspective. And I would like to talk about startups growth and development, both from the eyes of the founders. I'm ex-founder myself, and also from investor, and I'm also investor myself. So I would like to take both hats and share with you the perspectives and also practical tips of what should be done and how should be done. And I would like to do it in slightly different way. I would like to tell a story. It's like a business novel, or let's say business conversation between two heroes, Miss Growth and Lady Founder. And just to introduce the heroes of my story. Okay, so on the left side, the investor, Gen X, like me. I'm 45 years old. History graduate, like me, who represent the investor in the story. And on the right side, a lady founder, Gen Z, graduated with AI in MIT. Founder like me, I'm also develop AI startups, but I'm not a technical person. But she's a technical person, and she is the founder in the story. By the way, why women? This is a different story because it's important to increase diversity within company to reach the full market potential. But this is for another presentation. But those are the hero of my story. So let's start. The lady founder, as many other founder, are very hungry for success. Everybody that is developing startups wants to be a unicorn. Unicorn is, just for the record, more than $1 billion valuation of a company. It's the definition of a unicorn. In Israel, there are 141 of those. That's why Israel is considered to be startup nation. In Poland, few, but it's the potential is there. So every founder wants to make a lot of money, to become a unicorn, and want to change the world. Everybody think that. I thought like that when I was a founder, and this is usual approach of founder. But the lady investor says, right, it's great that you want to be a unicorn. I'm very proud of you. But have you heard about the growth paradox? And what is the growth paradox? Well, in history, big empires like the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, grew up very big, very global. Okay, but then one day they collapsed. And also in nature, you can find the growth paradox. While big trees with no strong roots cannot survive the storms and collapse. And I use it as a metaphor for companies who grow on the wrong way or the too fast way, not the smart way, and eventually collapse. So I want to talk about growth and the growth paradox. And the first case study that I want you to learn, and the investor want the founder to learn, is the lesson of Starbucks. Starbucks is a company that I'm working with, and I was studying for many years. I had the chance to meet Zev Siegel, one of the 3 Starbucks founders, a few times in my career. And I was also working with Josh Howell from the Lean Enterprise Institute, who led their business transformation in 2008 when they almost got to bankruptcy. And this is a company that I really, really like to learn from. So Starbucks grew huge around 2008, 2007, but they almost got to bankruptcy. You can find a lot of literature about it. And they lost their customer experience, because Starbucks is considered to be the third place. Okay, it's not home, it's not your work. Okay, it's the third place when people are coming to drink coffee and to find some kind of experience in between work and home. So they lost it, and they almost got to bankruptcy while growing very, very fast. And they also had operational, speaking of lean, they had operational problems causing, for example, $100 million loss per year just by throwing away coffee to the trash. And why is that? Because they grew up to 20,000 shops around the world. And when a barista is making coffee a slightly different way than his, let's say in Israel, than his colleague in Japan, okay, sometimes the coffee is not fresh, sometimes it tastes weird, so they throw away a lot of coffee to the trash because of lack of standardization, which is one of the most important lean principles, standard work. And when you throw up coffee to the trash, it sounds silly, but when you multiply the numbers, it's causing you $100 million operational problem per year. So they go through a lean transformation, do standard work within the 20,000 shops. Just a small example of business transformation using lean framework, and they saved themselves from bankruptcy. So this is the first lesson learned from Starbucks. And the second company that the investors want the founder to learn from is Ford Motors, another huge giant that also got to bankruptcy almost in the 2000s, because they had a huge problem of product development and their R&D operations, until they hired Alan Muley, a CEO that was brought from Boeing, a lean expert and practitioner. And what Alan Muley did, first of all, he drove different Ford vehicles across US, interviewed the salespeople, the customers, to realize that families need some more space in the bagage, different cup holders, all kind of minor things. And he led a global product development and R&D transformation using lean principles to make Ford Motors great again. And interesting example that I always try to teach startup when they start developing new products is the case of Ford Mustang for women. And this is super interesting case because Ford Mustang was always considered a man car because of the roaring engine, and it looks like really like elegant and a badass car. But they wanted to gain market share and develop Ford Mustang for women. And they started by interviewing potential customers, women. And what women said, they said something interesting. And this is the inspiration for the new product. They said, we like bad guys, not assholes. Okay, I will say it again. We like bad guys, not assholes. Okay, and the product development team of Ford Motors took this sentence and developed a whole new Ford Mustang for women, still with a roaring engine, a badass car, okay, but more elegant, more curvy, designed especially for women segment, just for women. And they gained a whole new market share and make Ford Mustang for women. So this is a remarkable case study how to use lean principles in product development environment and to develop a new product. Another case, slightly different environment, startups, okay, fintech, Sunday Up. Sunday Up is one of the most famous cases. They raised the $40 million Series A round, I think 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and they grew up in parallel in 5 markets. Really remarkable growth. It's a product that you can scan the QR code and pay in the restaurant and not have to wait for the bill. You can find them in London, you can find them in Germany, and so on. But they grew up too fast in 5 markets in parallel, like Spain and Italy, just to realize that in Spain, for example, people are not paying with their mobile phones in the restaurants. Okay, they prefer to pay in cash. Okay, and in Italy, restaurant owners like to hide from the authorities, so they prefer cash, not mobile transaction via payment gateways like Stripe. So they develop operations in the countries, and then in one day they withdrew from 5 countries in parallel and closed the operation, just spending money that was not necessary. And this is exactly the growth paradox. You grow to markets without knowing enough about the market, and then you withdrew. Okay, so it's again against any lean principles. We'll talk about PDCA later in experiments. So this is a remarkable story of growth that was took back and withdrew from different markets. So the story goes, and the lady founder saying, no, don't worry, I will get my investment, my big money, and everything will be okay. And most of the startup founders think that the investment will solve all their problems and make them successful. But it's not true if you look at the data. Okay, now we can look at the data. Only 4% startups fail due to lack of. Well, first of all, 90% of the startups fail to. Israeli friends always say, okay, we'll develop 10 startups and one will succeed. But only 14% of the startups fail due to lack of funding. The others are failing actually because lack of usage of lean principles in one sentence. Poor market fit and proof of concept in a specific market, pricing issues, lacking of business models. We'll talk about lean canvas later. Ignoring customers, which is one of the big sins in lean principles, and a lack of expansion in general. So those are the reasons why startups are failing. And I always say to startups, embrace the lean principles, and then you will grow the right way, and your chance to succeed and not to be among those 90% are bigger. Not always, but bigger. So the lady founder said, yeah, you're as investor, you're right, but let's take a look on the startup definition. Okay, as a founder, I work under extreme uncertainty. So it's like the war. It's like the kingdom of the unknown. And if you look at the startup definition, this is taken from a famous book called Lean Startup, okay, by Eric Ries in US. And Lean Startup, by the way, is the evolution of Toyota production system that was embraced and researched by Harvard scholars and MIT scholars and Michigan University scholars in the US. So this is an evolution of lean principles. We even talk about Toyota. And the definition is a human institution designed to create a new product or service under a condition of extreme uncertainty. So in that perspective, she's right. She is operating in unknown environment and very tricky and let's say dangerous environment. But from investor point of view, okay, you can take a look at the same definition, okay, and you can say that the human institution is the most important part of the definition, not the extreme uncertainty. And why it is important? Because human applies that there are people to manage. Okay, and the lean culture and lean principles are talking a lot about how to manage people, leadership, how to learn together, and so on. An institution applies that there are processes to manage from day one. Even if for 2 people, 3 people, 5 people startup, you have processes to manage. So this bureaucracy, these processes are super important from day one. So as investor, I look on the startup definition in different way, not only about the extreme uncertainty. And if you take a look at the principles of the startup, of the lean startup, okay, entrepreneurship is type of management. Okay, it's a management of learning. It's art of failing and learning. If you're in a corporate environment, okay, and you will tell to your boss, listen, I haven't met my quarterly objective, but I learned a lot about the customer experience, okay, you'll be fired the next day. Okay. By the way, this is why companies are trying to develop innovation team, to let people fail. But generally speaking, corporates are not open to not meeting your objective. But in startup environment, you have this opportunity to really learn about the customer experience, and the objectives are important, but are more fluid. So entrepreneurship is type of management, but it's not excuse for a mess. Okay, even if you're under extreme uncertainty. And generally speaking, business growth is very hard and systematic work. Okay, and I would like to share with you some principles, lean principles, how to do it very systematically and the right way. And the first principle, which is the core of the lean perception, is to focus on the customer value and experience. Okay, great Steve Jobs, late Steve Jobs, unfortunately, have a famous saying that he said, you must start with the customer experience and go backward to technology. And he is saying also that he is the one who made this mistake more than anybody else. And there's a lot of business literature how Apple developed the wheel in the iPod, if you remember, that was iPod. And generally speaking, how Apple destroyed the whole music traditional system when you had to buy this, it was Sony was the leader, the CD player, and you had to buy the whole CD in order to listen to your one song that you like. So Apple broke this experience. Okay, now you could buy iPod, download from the Apple Store, and you still can do it only one song from the CD that you really like. So they changed the whole way that people are listening to music. Not to speak, of course, about the smartphones and how people are communicating and living in the new world. And they always find the technologies, solutions to meet a specific customer experience, and they invented the whole customer experience themselves. So this is the first principle. I really like the saying of late Professor Christensen from Harvard Business School that said that UX, user experience, is like smoking a cigarette. Okay, and why I like smoking cigarettes? Because cigarettes provide you, first of all, with the practical and physical experience. Okay, because cigarettes are addicting. Okay, the nicotine is a very addictive and it makes you addicted. So if you look, for example, at Apple products, people are addicted. They are standing in line outside the Apple stores. Okay, because it's addictive customer experience. I personally don't like the experience of the iPhones. I prefer Android, Google system. But people cannot live without the way that you scroll your hand on the iPhones. So this is like smoking cigarettes. But cigarettes also provide you with emotional experience, because when you smoke, you get calmed down, less stressed. Okay, so every product should consider how to provide you with emotional experience as well. And it also provides you a social experience, because people are smoking in groups and it's creating communities. They smoke with each other, they interact with each other. So this is the way that products can generate communities and interaction between people. So all those three dimensions should be considered in your user experience and your customer experience. It doesn't matter, by the way, which industry you're in. It doesn't matter if you're a digital product or physical product. But UX and user experience is like smoking a cigarette. And this is when I teach startups from investor point of view, I always encourage them to think on their experience in that way. And just for example, experience is the base for impact. I was helping this German startup who aimed to increase democratic participation in Germany from day one among Gen Z, to make them vote, to make them participate in national projects. And they provide the whole experience within the application, creating avatars for the Gen Z. But what was interesting, this experience within the product actually was transformed to real life. So it was hybrid experience between the digital and the real life, and people actually, the young generation, went to vote, went to demonstrate, was working together in real life, participating in projects, which was important for Germany in the real life, and they increased democratic participation in Germany. So the experience is truly based for an impact. And the story continues, and the investors say, let's again take a look on Starbucks. This is photos from their innovation lab in Seattle. So they're doing remarkable things. Of course, they do hackathons on beverages, okay, to see what beverages, what flavors people like. Okay, beverages in Poland is not beverages you can find in the US or in Korea. They iterate with the machines to increase efficiency in the stores. Okay, so less human touch, more efficient. Like in McDonald's, you put the fries for 20 seconds. This is exact 20 seconds it needs to be ready. It saves you energy and cost. So Starbucks is doing the same. But what is remarkable, they are modeling. You can see in the below photo. They are modeling the customer experience from the moment you enter the shop until you pay and leave the shop. Everything is being modeled. The whole customer experience, the way you talk to the barista, what you meet, what you smell, what you see, everything is being modeled in the innovation lab in Seattle. So this is a very nice thing to learn from Starbucks. And the next time you go to Starbucks, think that way. That from the moment you step into the door, you're a model. You're a model for them to create your personal customer experience. But the lady founder, continuing the story, the lady founder said, "No, but I want to learn from Google and be cool like Google." Okay, it's true. Google is cool. I've been working with Google for 12 years already. And visited their offices at least in 4 countries. And the offices are cool. You could play football and Nintendo during the breaks. The whole design is generating innovation. You can sleep and get massage in massage rooms and so on. So it is cool. It is generating innovation. Okay, Gmail, and we'll talk about Gmail when we talk about a little bit later, but Gmail was invented by a guy who just spent his time on the beach. So it is generating innovation, but from investor point of view, what you really need to learn from Google is the design thinking, okay, the way they use the lean principles, post-mortem, of projects, pre-mortem of projects even, what can go wrong, not after it goes wrong, but before it goes wrong, okay? And the most important is the objective and key results. It's actually been taken from Intel, but developed by Google. The way you do the strategy deployment. So speaking of Gmail or any other product, okay, they will not say, okay, I want Gmail to be great, okay, but they will develop a whole strategy deployment. I want 9 million users by a certain month, and this is this is the result, and this is the objectives that I'm going to take and the activities I'm going to take to achieve it. And why it's important, because the system of strategy deployment, okay, Hoshin Kanri in Japanese, okay, if you are a lean practitioner, this is their Hoshin Kanri. It tells you exactly what you need to do, by when and how, okay, and it also tells you what you don't need to do. So it makes you focus on your objectives, okay, and the research shows that if you know what to do and also what not to do, okay, generating innovation. So this is the actual thing you need to learn from Google. And the next principles, you better fall in love with PDCA or PDSA. This is a pure lean principle. Okay, PDCA, plan, do, check, adjust, or plan, do, study, adjust, depends on the version you're looking at. And this is the Demian scientific thinking. Okay, to plan something, to plan a set of experiments, okay, not solutions that will spend a lot of money, but to plan countermeasures and experiments, doing them, check them, and adjust all the time. This is the scientific thinking. It can be for any startup, it can be for any corporate, it can be for any product that you, or any process that you want to develop within your organization. This is a pure lean principle and scientific thinking principle. And you need to fail fast and learn faster, okay? You are not going to develop a house before you realize that this is what your customer want, okay? And I like this white paper drawing, because if you take Menalo Software, for example, a big software company in the US, they take white paper, they're drawing prototypes of new screens and new features in their software, and they go to the customer and say, listen, do you like the red chicken or the yellow cow? What will you pay for? Without developing anything, just white paper. And this is a huge software company. So you're not going to develop a house unless you realize that people need the house or want the house. And if you fail, good, do it very fast and learn faster. And speaking of MVPs, it's MVP, for those who don't know, it's minimum valuable product, okay? You don't develop a donut with the topic before you realize that your customers actually want donuts. And why I'm using the donut example, because in Israel, I think it was 15 years ago, Dunkin' Donuts, the famous American chain, came, okay, opened 4 stores in Israel selling Dunkin' Donuts products, okay? But in Israel, Israel is a fit nation. We eat donuts, ponchki, by the way, very similar to the Israeli donuts, the original. You eat donuts slightly before Hanukkah, which is equivalent to Christmas, and slightly during Hanukkah, of course, which is the Jewish holiday, and slightly after. Other than that, during the year, Israelis don't really eat donuts. So there is no sense to open 4 stores to spend a lot of money on investments if your customer, if the market is not eating your product. So that's why you don't develop donuts with fancy toppings before you realize that customer actually eat donuts. And this is the MVP concept. And in the lean startup or any product development startup, okay, it's a build, measure, learn cycle. Okay, so you develop an MVP, okay, minimum valuable product. You build it, and then you start measuring that. And it's in the literature, in the professional terms, it's called innovation accounting. Okay, you measure how customers are reacting to your product and how do they behave. Okay, and you have to validate 2 things: both of the value, okay, if customer really use your product, but also something very important is the growth, okay, and the scalability. And this is something that a lot of product development environment or startups in general forget. Okay, sometimes the value is there, okay, but there is no scalability. Okay, as an investor, for example, if I look at the startup, it's not interesting to be only in the Polish market sometimes. Sometimes it is, but usually it doesn't. So you can deliver value to the Polish market, but are you scalable to the US? Are you scalable to rest of Europe? So you have to prove this leap of faith assumptions, and you need to use this PDCA framework to validate your product and do product market fit for different markets, and of course to realize if people are willing to pay for your product or less. It doesn't make any sense. And investor point of view, but as a lean practitioner point of view, try to solve real problems in reality. Okay. This is Houston, we have a problem slide. If you solve real problems in reality, the chances for you to succeed is good. And I will talk later what is the definition of a problem. But try to solve real problem in reality. It will make you more successful for sure. And try to grab these gaps in reality. So be a lean thinker, because the optimists are always saying, why this glass is, not why, this glass is half full, okay? So it's good. And the pessimist will say, no, this glass is half empty, Okay, so it's not good. Okay, but the lean thinker, the way that I would like founders or business people in general to think, okay, why is this glass twice as big as it should be? Okay, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, but why is it twice big as it should be? Because glass is material, glass is money, okay, it's resources. So why do I need such a big glass if it's half full or half empty? So this is a lean thinking, and I encourage both founders and more experienced business leaders to set that way. This is the investor. And you must the mess. Okay, there is a lot of mess. It doesn't matter if you're a corporate, in your product development, in your sales, in your marketing. There is always something. You should use methodologies and tools to understand your mess, and also your partner's mess, your customer's mess. So you need to use value stream mapping and other methodologies to understand what is going on and to try to improve everything. So you better understand this mess. And this is very, I would say, it's not unique to the startup environment, but very important in the startup environment. And if you read more advanced books about lean principles, like Running Lean by Ash Maouya, also U.S. author, they say that you have to treat your traction, meaning the customer response, as a customer's factory, as a Toyota manufacturing system with 5 stations. Okay. And those are the stations, or the metrics that you need to consider when you start analyzing customer reaction and traction, aka also Dave McClary metrics. Okay, you first of all analyze your acquisition, so how users or customers find you. Then you analyze activation. Okay, do users have a great first experience? Or they are leaving the product, and this is leading to the retention. Do users come back or to use your product, or they stop using your product? And then revenue. How do you make money from your product? And last of all, referral. Do users tell others? Are you becoming viral? Okay, and this is like stations when a car moving from station to station in Toyota manufacturing system. And you need to take different actions, analyzing those 5 stations of the metrics. And most important, as the Japanese say, and the lean Japanese practitioners say, Genshin Genbutsu. Okay, go to the Gemba. In the English translation, where the value is being added. Okay, and why McDonald's? Because McDonald's is, I think, a very classic hands-on business school. How managers are observing the clients as the operation goes, facing the problems as the operation goes, where the value is being added when people are eating McDonald's products. Okay, they observe the kitchen where the product is being created, with all the famous standard work they have, that everything is being standardized, from the fries to the amount of ice cream that you put in the McFlurry and so on. So they take the customer complaints as the operation goes back to the kitchen operations. So I think it's a remarkable business school for anyone to see. Personally, I don't like McDonald's food, but I admire their operation. So this is a very nice hands-on business school. And the worst type of waste, any lean practitioner know it, is not using people, ideas, and talents. And that's why you need to listen to your investors, you need to listen to your team, you need to listen to your customers, and try to embrace their ideas for improvement, and use those ideas to do your business and product better. I have a lot of examples of startups. They had everything. Okay, they had really remarkable products. The investors were fighting about them, but then they stopped listening. They thought, I call it the founder syndrome. They thought they know everything, and instead of becoming a huge success, they just failed, closed the operations after 4 years, 5 years, and left with nothing. Went to bankruptcy. And this is super, super. For me, it was very sorry and to see those kind of examples, because really, people who had a huge potential for success and just stopped identifying ideas and listening to others. So don't waste this talent that your people have, your customers have, and others in general. To summarize, the growth is an outcome. Okay, most of the lean practitioners know the 4Ps model. Okay, the purpose, which is the business strategy and the value that needs to be created, the processes, the people, as then the problem solving that is generating and is the engine of everything. And if you use this model, okay, you become resistant, because COVID, wars, crises were in history and will always be crises. But if you use lean principles and lean culture, and you embrace this perception of combining everything together, for sure your business will be more resilient for crises. And I met during pandemic a lot of businesses that they shut down part of the operations or part of the products, part of the revenue streams, but they had others to back up, and they survived the crises. So the growth is an outcome of aligning the purpose, the process, the people, and the problem solving. And if you're now a founder in the audience, you say, okay, it's a very nice lecture, but it's only a theory. But actually, it's not only a theory. It's a practical system. And I can give you examples from myself. This is me using design thinking and lean canvas to develop my own startups, and for others as well. This is me doing ethnographic research. Okay, so for example, I developed a product to develop women in business, in impact startup. We did workshops with women. I was interviewing women across the world in any chance to identify the pain points. Okay, in the professional terms, it's called being an ethnographic researcher. So interviewing customers really deeply to understand the pain points, to use all kinds of methodologies and tools like persona. Okay, who are you going to develop the product for? Men, women, Gen Z, Gen X, everybody is different, and the product for them are different. Customer journey map to identify the pain points in the usage of a specific product in reality. So where does it hurt? Okay, value proposition canvas. What are the values that the product are mitigating, or the pain points that the product is mitigating, and so on. So those methodologies work. And of course, the lean canvas. I can tell you that I helped digital products. I was helping flower brands. Even it sounds funny, but even a unique sex shop. To develop a unique sex shop, I helped using a lean canvas framework or a business model framework. It doesn't matter. Okay, to combine the problem, the solution, the customer segments, the revenue streams, and so on and so forth. Okay, very good framework to develop any type of. thinking, which is supplementary to the lean canvas, to understand the pain points, the empathy, to define the pain points and create a solution for them, to prototype the solution and then to test it. Okay, Google use it, startup use it, everybody's using this. Is the most well-known framework to develop new products. And those framework, it's part of the lean framework because the methodologies have different name, but eventually it's the lean principles. It helps you to define the right problem, and this is the definition of the problem is where you are, the current performance versus where you want to be, the desired performance. And if you define the problem that you are trying to solve, as I said before, you also develop the right solution. Okay, and developing the right solution using Lean framework is an art. Okay, because a lot of founders develop this very sophisticated, complicated, very expensive solution, while their customer actually want something simple that will solve only one problem that they are facing in reality. So you don't have to put a lot of money and waste a lot of money and lose a lot of money to develop something. You need to develop exactly what people want, and people are lazy. They will pay a lot for things that will solve their problems. And the Lean framework also, and the Lean canvas and design thinking help you to identify your customer segment. Okay, maybe in another lecture we'll do a Lean canvas and Lean framework, Lean canvas and Lean startups workshop. But generally speaking, it helps you to see if you're aiming for people with more money or people with less money. Okay, and what will be your revenue streams? What will be your pricing? Are you going to charge $2 or 50 cents? Okay, and which one people will choose? By the way, most of the people will choose $2 because the perceptions of the quality is within the pricing. So the bottles look the same, but if this one costs $2 and this one costs 50 cents, people will use, most of the people, $2 because the perception of quality. But this is for another discussion. And the Lean framework will help you connect the customer experience to the pricing. Most of the Coca-Cola sales coming from the small bottles, the people who are costing much more, because people like to put the Coca-Cola bottles in their bag, and they are willing to pay more for this customer experience and not for the big bottles that they cannot carry with them on the street. And you can take the mobile gaming, which is remarkable example, what people are willing to pay for within-app purchases. To get, if you have kids that are playing Roblox or Fortnite, they always say, "Okay, Daddy, give me money. I want to buy this new cool feature, this new cool character," and it's generating a lot of money. And this is all being identified by the Lean framework and the Lean canvas and the design thinking. And just again, a case study from my own personal experience. So I remember I was talking about Sunday app. So I was working with one of their competitors, and I learned their lesson. And I led the company growing in 3 markets in parallel, using more economic approach to enter market. And I was going myself, Genching and Butsu again, going myself to see how customers are using the product in different sets, different environments, from beach places to restaurants and so on. So this ethnographic observations or direct observations, as the Lean principles suggest, is super important. The Googlers always say, spark with imagination, fuel with data. So it's super important to use analytics, to do proper market research and user testing, how people are really acting and reacting to your product. Okay, this is in the right photo. It's real testing that we did for mobile application. Exactly how people are moving their finger on the mobile phone. How do they react to different features within their product? Because you can spark with imagination of a very nice idea, but you must fuel with data of what's happening and how customers are reacting to your product. And I always say, even your 3 people startup or 10 people startup or your corporate, be Toyota and Google from day one. So developing objective and key results system and strategy deployment system that will make you focus on the right things in sales, in the operations, in product development, and so on. Develop an improvement system to collect people ideas, customers' ideas, and to develop it into something new. I really recommend using A3 for that, for the lean practitioners in the audience. And develop management systems, okay, to identify the bottlenecks, okay, theory of constraints based management systems. When I can be an alien and I will come to your company, I will know exactly what are the problems, who is taking care of them, and how it's going to be solved. As the theory of constraints suggests, to identify those bottlenecks and go forward to solve them. So be Toyota plus Google from day one, even if you're an early stage startup. But a lot of founders always tell me, yeah, but I'm not a corporate. Okay, this is true. But I can tell you, for example, I worked in a division in Hewlett-Packard many years ago. Used to be 10 people startups, then acquired by Hewlett-Packard. Grew to be global monster, controlling 90% of software printing market in the world, with thousands, 10,000s of people across US, Europe, Israel, and so on. And we could prevent problems, not to spend millions of dollars to solve problems that could be prevented if we would implement those principles, those systems, those methodologies, and the early stage of the business. So it's true, you are not a corporate, but corporates and startups needs to learn from each other, because the growth, okay, is like a karate kata. Okay, in karate, when you practice karate, you're getting your belts by practicing kata. It's a set of standard exercises that you must master in order to get your next belt. If I wake you in the middle of the night, you will know how to do the kata. But what is more important, the kata is making you ready for the kumite, okay, for the fight, the karate fight. I like this metaphor, because if you use set of principles, set of methodologies on the daily basis, it makes you ready for the cruel business world, for the crises, to fight in the real business world. So this methodologies, if you embrace it all the time, it makes you stronger for the fight. So the growth is like a karate kata. So to summarize, what's the secret? Actually, there is no secret. But if you want to grow your business, if you want to get investment, if you want to get investors interested, you have to learn together with your customers, with your investors, how to master. The first step is to create one from zero. And my Japanese business mentor always tell me, your Israelis are the worldwide experts in making one from zero. You're the startup nation, the innovation nation. You know how to make one from zero, to create a new idea. But us Japanese are the masters of creating 100 from one, to scale up the business, not to be satisfied with the one, but to scale it up on the global level. Americans also experts in that. So you have to learn how to create one from zero, but also 100 from one, to grow from 1 to 100. And now a little bit about me. So I had projects in 19 countries and more than 25 types of industries, from high tech to manufacturing to hospitals to services. And I'm not telling that because I want to say how great I am. I'm telling that, and I will leave this slide and I will let you put my number. And please ignore the QR code. I think it's old, but you can find me on LinkedIn and send me messages, or Instagram. I'm also on Instagram, or my email. But I'm saying about 25 types of industries and 19 countries, because I've learned that it doesn't matter which industry you're in. You can embrace principles from manufacturing to AI startup. You can embrace best practices from hospitals to virtual reality startups or virtual reality businesses and different digital products. All the principles are the same. I'm using the same management systems everywhere, the same principles everywhere. Of course, you need to tailor made for the business, you need to tailor made for the product, but the principles are the same. And if you embrace it, for sure your business will be successful. In my 20 years of experience, I never failed with the lean culture and principles. It's always working, but it's not easy. You need to learn how to fail. You need to learn where it hurts. It's not easy at all. Great. So thank you for listening. And now let's do some questions if people have questions.
Yes, if you have any questions and you are online right now with us, please send us a comment. If you like to connect us with video, it's also possible. I will send you the link. In the meantime, I have some questions for you because you are in Poland for some time, so you already saw how people are working in the companies, not in startups, but also in startups, but generally speaking in business in Poland. So can you share some experience about how this lean culture can be implemented? Did you see any lean culture already in Poland? What is your perspective about it?
Yes, I want to answer that in give an example of how Polish people are afraid to speak in English. Okay, when you're an Israeli and you don't know how to speak in English, okay, you speak English. It doesn't matter if you're making mistakes. Okay, you just speak because you're an Israeli. You're not afraid of anything. Polish people are afraid to make mistakes. And this is something in the culture that needs to be solved. It's changing a little bit with the young generation, but the lean principles is about making mistakes, but making responsible mistakes. So using scientific thinking. So you must experiment, you must fail in order to improve. So it's not in the Polish culture, unfortunately, and design experiments to overcome those failures. This is super important. It's not well developed in Poland as in US, for example. And the Polish way of management is a little bit old school. So it's more what it used to be many years ago. I'm the manager, you'll do what I say, instead of the lean management that let's learn together how to make things together. So this is the lean approach. It's not well developed in Poland, but it is changing a little bit.
In the meantime, Alexandra said, ask you a question actually, so I will show it.
I cannot see because
I will show it on the screen.
Yeah, I need to stop sharing. That's why.
Okay. So I will read the question. The question from Alexandra is, hi, could you tell me more about experiences in PDCA process? Some examples, please.
Examples. Let's take a very recent example. Okay, I'm working with. I'm managing on the day to day. I'm managing one IT company in the name of the board. They hired me to lead the company transformation. So we designed the whole new process, how to collect change requests from customer, because change requests are main pain point for the customer. It costs a lot of money eventually to collect the right information. So the PDCA cycle was, first of all, to understand what is the current process. Okay, then we planned some countermeasures how to change the process. We did some standard work to what information we need to collect from the customers. Okay, so we had this plan. Okay, what to do. Then we start implementing that, and then we start measuring. Okay, is it improving the lead time and the cost from every customer request? So we set up how to measure it. And we adjust it all the time. We change it all the time as we learn something new. So every new problem that we are facing, we are changing the process again and again until we perfect it. Okay, because it's never perfect, but we seek perfection. So this is exactly the scientific thinking of PDCA.
Okay, so maybe I will ask a question to this question. Make it a little more deep. So how many times, or maybe is it like daily or maybe once a week, do you check this process to improve?
We set in the plan itself. We set time frames to check it. So every 3 months. But what I do is the management system that we design. Okay. Is a live system. So the information that is coming from the management system, then we are doing that once a day to see where are the company bottlenecks. Okay, the management system allows us to collect information because we see what CRs, what the change requests are on the every day we have. Okay, so when we identify the problem via the management system, we also integrate the general process of the change request to change it. So it's both set of experiments, a set of the check points that we design, but also integrating to the daily operations that will, let's say pardon my French, to make the shit and the problems go up. Okay, and then you can improve it even on a daily basis if you're facing a problem. So it's both ways.
Okay, so is it like a process of finding of a bottleneck? Do you have like a procedure to look for one, or do you see like there are problems growing up and you need to check the source of it? How do you approach it?
We are using a visual management system, using a visual management lean principle. Okay, so all the important things we are putting in the visual board. Okay, divided by important versus urgent with priorities. And then we have few statuses. We have on track, off track, internal delay, external delay. If it's external cause for the delay, and then we see on the enterprise level what are the problems, and most of all we take accountability of solving those problems. So it's very visual. If you will come now to this company, you will open this board. Okay, and you will exactly know where, if you're, let's say, new CEO, you will exactly know where to put your efforts and what problems to solve, because your CEO is one resource. Okay, so we need to know whether to, I don't know, talk to a customer on a sales deal, whether to deal with the product developers, whether to hire a specialist for them or whatever. But it gives you a visual in 1 minute. You can know everything that is preventing the company from going forward.
Okay, so but there are like a lot of processes in a company. So I guess you are mapping main processes for the management, I guess, but you do not map processes like call support for clients and so on. So I guess is it like this or something
Well,
else?
the management system allow us to identify problems as the operation go, and once we identify a problem that is worth taking offline to proper problem solving, we do that. So we let's say we took care of the core processes that we already know that are existing, okay. And once we identify a problem, okay, we start doing process improvement. Okay, for example, okay, there are processes on the customer success team that we design, but I don't know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, I identified that people are spending a lot of time to write emails answering customers' questions. And you know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but when it's a big operations, it costs a lot of money. So we took it into offline process improvement. We standardized, we analyzed what emails can be standardized and put into templates, okay, and just you know, put some a little bit more information, just send it to the customers, and just to save time. So this is not a core process of the company; it's a side process. That we collected the problem via the daily management routine, okay, and just put it in a small process improvement team of 3 people. Improve the process. Show me the prototype of the new email templates. Let's start using that again. Plan, do, check, adjust. Let's start using that, and let's meet in 2 months to see if it saves us time or not, if customers like it, if the team like it, and so on. So the core processes are there, but there's also side processes that taken into improvement as the operation goes, as we identify problems via the management routines, or the literature call it the standard, the leaders' standard work.
Okay, I see. From the audience, please feel free to ask any questions. Don't be shy. And from me personally, I would like to ask about this comparison to karate and kata, because I guess you need to develop some habits, like business habits or work ethic, I guess, to make this work. But could you please give some examples how to develop the right kata habits to be prepared for the like serious fight on the business?
Yeah, you need to develop a lean culture. There's very nice book written in Michigan University that I like, Creating Lean Culture, it's called. And I again, I'm going back to this management system. When I designed this management system as a leader, okay, I'm making sure that people are using that. Okay, and it's about leading the change, to making sure that people are using what we already came up with, the improvements, using the management system. And I do a lot of mentoring for the leaders, how to use it the right way. I teach them how to see, because learning to see is also an art. Okay, a lot of people don't know how to see the problems, and you have to teach them as their business mentor or their manager how to see problems. Speaking of karate, my Japanese sensei, the business sensei, we used to do competitions of identifying improvements. So at the beginning, I identified 5 problems that I see in the business operations, and he saw 15 because he was more experienced than me. But you know, like the movie, The Karate Kid, eventually you're becoming a master of seeing business problems. And you're becoming a karate expert, and you see those problems, and you teach your people, your employees, your team managers, your employees how to see business problems and how to do problem solving in a methodological way. And this is creating a lean culture by itself.
So you basically learn from the mentor, and your team is learning from you. But is it like any written methodology or a book that we could
It's
read on?
it's all in the books. First of all, it's all in the books. You can find
Mhm.
information about anything. The problem is that you don't know how to take those books and to make it into the real world, because the creating real lean culture is based on experience. As a business mentor, I know where it hurts. Okay, I know the pitfalls where it can fail, and because I failed myself many times and I'm still failing, and I know how to prevent from failure. So it's very good to take. This is why companies are hiring me, because I can teach people where to fail and how to fail. Um, it's good to have a mentor leading you through the lean transformation, because you can read everything in the book, but it's not easy. I can give you an example. Many years ago, I was leading a business transformation in Ministry of Defense in Israel, and we hired $90 million contract with McKinsey to teach us lean principles. This is my first meeting with Lean. I was trained by McKinsey in their Lean school in Lyon, in France. But why I'm saying that, because even great McKinsey gave us a set of tools, okay, but they didn't put enough effort to develop managers, lean managers, and we achieved only part of the success. Okay, we didn't have a mentor to teach us. Okay, you do it that way or that way. You're running to solutions, or go back to the problems to define the problem. You need the experienced mentor to do that, or else the success will be only partially.
I see. We have two comments in the meantime. First is from Alexandra again. She said, "Thanks. By the way, I so agree with you about learning on failures. Our schools are not into that philosophy. I guess I need to agree with that." And Paulina Koperska asked you a question. If we treat failure as a product, do you have any ideas how to reduce the fear of failure in Polish companies?
How to reduce fear of failures? It's not easy, because fear of failure is deep in the culture. I learned it myself after 5 years in Poland. I'm also half Polish, so it's easier for me to identify. You cannot teach how to prevent fear of failures. You need to show people that failures are good, and it gives you ways to succeed. If you stick to the methodologies, I think it helps. It helps to overcome the fear from failure, but eventually it's the act of management. Okay, my team, when I step into a new company, the first sentence that I tell them, okay, is I'm now your new boss, okay, but please don't tell me that I'm successful and beautiful. Okay, I know that I'm successful and beautiful. Tell me where I'm wrong. And people usually are in shock. This is the first reaction. People are in shock. Why is he saying that? I said, no, because I want you to fail, and I want you to tell me what I'm doing wrong. And this is totally the business approach. And people are making mistakes, and I'm telling them, that's fine. I'm not mad at you. But I'm mad at my employees when they are not finding ways to improve. I'm not mad at my employees when they are failing and creating problems for the company. I encourage them to make problems. But this is a business approach that needs to be learned by managers. So when I'm working with CEOs among my clients, I'm telling them, let's go together. Let's see the failure. Let's analyze the failure and find ways to do it better. but don't be mad at this employee. On the contrary, be Japanese. Japanese are standing, clapping hands in the manufacturing system for those who are made a mistake and found ways to do it better. They're clapping hands. So don't be mad at this employee. Just clap your hands and encourage them. And I also hire people on their willing to improve. Not people who are saying yes for everything.
Okay, so I guess it's a follow-up of this question. So, how to start lean in Poland? Like, if somebody is owning a company, he's a leader, founder, maybe it's not a startup because I guess it's a DNA of startup, but in other cases it might be hard, especially in Poland, as we talk about the fear and so on of failure. So, how could you start a lean in Poland in business other than startup?
No, it's usually lean is easier to teach in corporates. It's not easy to do it in startups environment because startup it is extreme uncertainty. It's easier to do lean in corporates. Most of my career I did lean in corporates. Find the right mentor. Find I would say give me a call and I explain to you how. But it's important to find a mentor that can come, sit with your team, help you choose the right people, have the right mindset to do that, and start from scratch. Start by failing. And if companies doing that one after one, eventually you create lean in Poland. What I try to do also, but this is my pro bono activity, I try to go to high schools. I teach currently in 3 universities, and I try to reach the young generation, even in high schools, and to teach them lean principles. So one day they will grow to be the next business generation of Poland. They will also think lean when they will step into the first business. So I try to teach in universities and high schools as much as possible because I'm only one person. And even with my own kids, I did a design thinking workshop to develop new toys when they were little, and I tried to make them in the DNA think lean. But it's not easy. It's market transformation, especially after Soviet regime. It's not easy to change. But eventually, if you change as much as possible, things are going better. But you have to find a mentor that already failed and know where it hurts. Because if a CEO tell me, okay, I want to do lean, I'll tell you, okay, I'm telling him directly, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, I know. We are going to fail and fail again, but eventually we'll succeed. But you need to know where it hurts in order to succeed.
I like it that you are keeping it real, that you need to really fail before you succeed. And you talked that you actually developed some toys with your kids, right? But it's not like Lego pieces, it's something else, I guess.
Yeah, well, my daughter had, she wanted to develop a new toy. So I did design thinking with her. I said, okay, tell me not which toy you want to develop, okay? But as a lean principle, let's observe the toys that our kids are playing, okay? What problem do they have? Meaning, what toys they don't have, okay? And she came with an idea that I thought that we even did sketches, like prototyping of toys, and went to ask kids later on. Because things that kids don't have and might like. And we started the ideation of prototyping what kind of toy kids will like. And this is exactly like problem solving on any business environment. First of all, try to identify the gaps that you have in reality, or what is missing in the reality. In other words, and let's try to find ideas how to make things new and better and innovative.
So I guess if we would think about putting lean in a Polish company, and you as a mentor, for example, would come to a company, and people will be, I guess, naturally scared. I mean, employees to fail and to fail fast. Maybe the idea to promote lean would be to start thinking about how to improve their, I guess, social world life in a work environment, something not that heavy. I mean, in the consequences, if they fail, it's okay, nothing happened. I guess maybe this is the approach.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that implementing Lean in all the 19 countries that I've been implementing Lean in all 19 cultures, everybody was afraid to fail, and the obstacles were the same. Sometimes it's a little bit, maybe a little bit more hard in traditional markets like Poland versus US. Sometimes it's harder, but it's the human nature to afraid of failure. And that's why you need leadership. You need to be a strong leader yourself.
I see.
This is the only way. If you don't have this leadership needs to be built. When I step into companies, I identify those people who can become leaders. It's not obvious for everybody. And I try to develop this leadership that they will sit with their teams and let them fail. So this leadership development is very important, but it's all the same. U.S., Europe, Israel, everybody is afraid of failure. Yeah.
I see. In the meantime, Paulina asked the question, how are your lectures on lean received by the students in Poland? I guess.
Very, very well, because the Polish young generation is really hungry for success. They're dreaming big. The young generation is not our generation. They dream much bigger. They want to become, as in my story, they want to become great. But they want to become great as Gen Z very fast, and they have a lot of crazy dreams. But somebody also needs to hold them back. But they really embrace this thinking. It's easier for them to embrace new thinking than any others. So it's really nice to see people in that age in high schools embrace those ideas. I even have a plan to create an academy for younger generation to really teach kids how to think innovation, how to think lean, to start in really, really young age. But this is in my to-do list. So I have a lot of feedback, and I meet those people in conferences, in universities, and they are seeking for that because the education system is really not built for that. It's still it was like that in Israel. It's still like that in many places to memorize things more than a real business life approach. So it's still memory and not problem solving as the real business world.
Right. So there is no question about it that the Polish education system need to be reformed, and actually there are a number of the social initiatives from the business people also, because people come to work and they do not know how to solve problems and how to handle new tools. And world right now is speeding up that fast that you need to learn those skills. Alexandra actually commented that it would be more effective to write books for parents. Maybe this is the idea for you.
Actually, I started sketching a book with a woman from New York. It's a business novel. I hope to realize it in sometimes. To write about innovation and growth, that everybody can use it in all ages, all types of companies, They can read how to do it, where it hurts, and so on. But yeah, but maybe book for parents. Yeah, it's not a bad idea actually.
Yeah, so I think if you will start to work on something scalable in terms of Polish education, please do let us know, because there is a team in Poznan city. They are very involved in this reformation of Polish education. So, and in other cities in Wrocław also. So it's a very hot topic, I guess. One more question from me, and I guess one from Alexandra. Alexandra asked how to raise growth focused kids.
How to raise growth focused kids. Well, I can tell you, I have two kids, and it's also my personal parental approach. I encourage them to dream big. So my daughter wants to be an actress. My son wants to be a lawyer. So I tell them, fine, be whatever you want, but be the best in what you want, and take under consideration that you can also not succeed. This is my personal way to raise growth-focused kids. The other thing is to make them think globally. And I try to teach my kids to cooperate. That's also the reason why I put them in international school, to cooperate with people from across the world, in different cultures, in different environments. And I always tell them, Israel is also always about politics. So I also tell them, for me, I have only one religion. It's the Benjamin Franklin religion, the dollar bill. If you're a good person and you're willing to do business with me, you can be from out of space. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, or a Jew. Let's make business. And this is the way I raise them on the cultural level, to cooperate with anyone. What I learned in my 30s, how to cooperate with different international environment, people from all over the world. I try to teach them from the young age. And this is my way to raise growth-focused kids. And I encourage them. I encourage them always to try and to fail. It's just personal approach.
Alexander also wrote that it's a great idea for the book, and actually, this was the title proposal for the book, I guess, for you. But I guess you already gave the introduction for the book itself.
See, that's why I think that women are much better managers than men, because women always have this urge to improve more than men managers. So thank you, Alexander, for for that.
Okay, so if you have any more questions, please do ask him now, because we will soon end. But I have one more question about how to handle the culture later on. So let's say we have the mentor, but he's not in the company, right? He comes, I guess, once for some time, but we need to manage it somehow. How do we do it? Do we have any tools? I don't know, spreadsheet, or do we just managing by walking around, like in a management freeze?
So you need to develop the leadership capabilities, and to really change the leaders to take it farther on. But my way to develop the management system is so addictive that people are actually using that even when I'm gone. And companies that I was I was managing and leaving after a while for the next opportunity are still using that, because it just makes people work smarter, and it's actually bringing results. So people continue using that even with the manager is gone. So you need to build those capabilities. If you look at the lean transformation models, the right pillar is the capabilities of people. So you really need to develop those capabilities for later on. But this is also this is also why I don't like consultants. I usually, when I
Mhm.
take projects, I join. I do some consultancy, but usually I join as a manager, as sometimes interim, sometimes for at least 2 years, 3 years. I join companies as a manager to lead this transformation myself, because to develop these capabilities takes time and it takes a lot of management effort. So I don't want to be those McKinseys that advised me 15 years ago in Ministry of Defense and gave me a
Mhm.
set of tools. I try to really develop leadership capabilities within my teams.
Okay, but is it like you are developing the team itself, or are you developing the team and the leader, the manager that was manager before you came the manager?
The key point for success is the mid-level layer, the middle level managers. All my transformations, even when I worked in corporates, I was navigating the ship, but the mid-level managers were the biggest secret for success. So if you manage to develop those, eventually they will grow to become the senior management, and also they are doing the actual work together with the teams. But I try myself to make the last employee thinking. It can be a huge company, but I will find the time to go and sit with the last of the people, to observe the problem myself and to make her or him thinking and observe things in the right way. It's a lot of management effort, but eventually this is how you create learning and lean organizations.
Okay, so I guess learning by doing, right?
Yes, again, chicken butsu. You must go to the people, sit with them, and in lean you say, "Show me, don't tell me," because there is a gap between what people are showing to you, and you see the problems yourself, and what people are telling. Just let me just text my. Speaking of that, text my team that I will be
Sure.
late
We will
for
be,
5 minutes.
yeah, we will be ending,
Yeah.
closing the meeting because it's time for it right now. But please do answer the question. It reminds me one slide from your
Yeah.
presentation. It's not in this presentation because I saw others of your presentation, and there is a Pikachu, and there is a text. It's kind of a meme that tell me I'm right and I kill you, right?
Yes, exactly. That's what I said. I tell to my team, don't tell me that I'm successful. I know that I'm successful. Tell me where I'm wrong. If you tell me that I'm right, I will kill you. I don't need people that in organization that tell me where I'm right. I need you to tell me where I'm wrong. And this is a totally opposite management approach than any other old school management approach. I don't need employees to tell me that I'm right. This is erred thinking. I need to find improvements.
That's right. Alexandra said, thank you very much for the meeting. It gave me a couple of ideas. I wish you all good. And
Thank
I
you
do
all.
also, yes, I do also thank you for joining us. I know that you are very, very busy, and I'm very happy that you find time to join us. And I think if anyone have more questions now or maybe later, seeing this recording later on YouTube, please do ask them directly to Efi on LinkedIn. He's available there, and he also shared his contacts information. And thank you yet again, and thank you for everybody else to joining us. Next Till Breakfast will be next month on the second Friday of the month. And Efi, thank you once again.
Thank you very much. My pleasure is all mine.
All right, also.